Well, we're halfway through June, so we should probably do a May wrap up. What's up, beasties? Welcome back to the channel. It's Triple B, your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for watching this. I really appreciate you taking the time to do so. Today is going to be my very first monthly wrap up for the month of May. And we're just going to talk about everything I read last month. Of course, we're starting this a little late. Normally, we would do this right away at the beginning of the month, but the Bearded Book Beast did not exist in the month of May. Luckily, it does now, and we're going to be able to do this. So, I'm not going to talk about anything I've read this month. That will all come in the weekly wrap up in the next couple days. You'll see. Couple side notes. I'm just going to talk about everything I read, give you my thoughts on it, quick recap kind of stuff. Look for book reviews to start coming in into short videos, a minute or less, talking about all these books. And then I'll do focused, longer reviews on books that are new or books that a lot of people haven't already reviewed or talked about. But for most of these, which everybody has talked about a lot, I will just do quick reviews and also look for a review system that explains how I review things. I think it's pretty fun. Goes along with the Bearded Book Beast. So look for that coming soon. um, but yeah, what else? Usually, I would talk about how the channel's doing, what growth we saw, all those fun stats, and talk about videos and which videos did the best, yada yada. But can't do that because there was no channel in May. So look for that for a June wrap up next month. But without further ado, first up, we're going to talk about the books I read every week. Every week I read one book. We're going to start there. So the very first book that I read of the month was Lone Wolf by Greg Hurwitz. This is book number 9 in the Orphan X series, one of my favorite series. It's really good. Focuses, I can't talk about book 9, obviously, spoilers, but I'll tell you the premise of the series. Focuses on Evan Smoke. I'm not sure if I think it's Smoke. I guess I've never listened to an audio. The audios are supposed to be really good. In fact, I just found out I need to test it out. But I'll tell you in a little bit. But anyway, Evan Smoke, he is a gentleman who helps people out, a lot like Repairman Jack that I talked about in my welcome video. He helps people out, kind of lives off the grid. He kind of poses out as a regular nobody kind of guy. I think he works in like some kind of sales, like selling uh, office supplies or something crazy like that. But in reality, he was grew up in an orphanage, had a really rough life, didn't know who his parents were, got picked on. He was a smaller kid, but he ends up getting chosen along with a lot of other orphans and kids to be part of this orphan program by the government. And each orphan is trained to become an assassin, sent on these missions so that if they get captured or killed, they're kind of washed their hands of them, and nobody acknowledges they exist or the program exists. And each orphan gets assigned a letter. There's some confusion early on if it's numbers or letters, but it is letters. But so Evan is a trained assassin, worked for the government, did some bad things, but his handler, the person that trained him, also became like a father figure to him and taught him how to keep his humanity, to still be a good person that wants to help people and do what he does for the right reasons. So he got away from all that, is trying to make up for what the bad things he did that he carries with him by helping others, and he's called the Nowhere Man. And when he helps people, he doesn't accept any money. He's got money set up through stuff that you find about in the book, but he just wants them to pass on his number 1855 Nowhere to someone else who needs help, and that's what he does. And actually, the audiobooks are supposed to be really good, and I heard that if you call the 1855 Nowhere, the guy that does the audiobooks, his voice picks up like he's Evan Smoke, so the Nowhere Man. I'm going to have to try that out. But this book was awesome, just like usual. They're always fast-paced, great character work, found family, really good stuff, lots of twists, and it's got a great overarching story, and then each book has its own little story where he's up against something and helping someone out, and it's pretty awesome. Love this series. This was awesome. I actually got it signed, my first one by him, by the author, and I had him put it to Chris, the Bearded Book Beast. Pretty awesome. But yeah, that was really good. Great way to start off the month. Then I read Tomorrow's Children by Daniel Polanski, who's quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. This won't be the only time he's in this wrap-up. But Tomorrow's Children is his newest novel. He writes another book series called Lowtown, and that is a really cool series as well. I'm just getting into that one. I read a prequel short story this past month that was really good, and started reading Lowtown, the first novel, and I'll talk about that down the road when I finish it. But Tomorrow's Children is set in Manhattan, in New York. This cloud of gas came and killed a bunch of people and things off, mutated some. So there's some people that have kind of some powers, and those that have survived have kind of formed clans, and they're in certain parts of the city, and you don't trespass or they'll kill you, and they war with each other, and between their powers, and some of the weapons they have, they have very cruel weapons spears and swords and stuff like that. There's also some guns, but yeah, it's really cool. Think of that old movie or video game, The Warriors, where there are all those young people that had different groups and killed each other, and that one group had to try to get across the city without getting killed. It's a lot like that, but really cool. I really enjoyed it. Very fast-paced, great characters. I'll talk more about this when I do a review, but it was very enjoyable. I really liked it. Next up, I read Harbinger of Justice by Andrew Watson. Andrew is an awesome guy. He is a booktuber as well on YouTube. If you haven't checked out his channel, you should. It's down below. And if you haven't read his first book, you definitely should, because this was amazing. Really good. I really enjoyed it. This edition is gorgeous too. It's got a naked hardcover with the same image as on the dust jacket. He sent me a bookmark and map. I paid for this, but I bought this last summer before I became a booktuber. But he was the very first one to ever sign something for me as Bearded Book Beast, and he was just super nice when I talked to him about ordering the book, because he lives overseas, having it shipped here. I told him about signing it up to Bearded Book Beast and how I wanted to start my own channel, and he was really encouraging. Told me to just go for it, and it took me a year, but I did do it. So yeah, he's an awesome guy, and this book was amazing. It's like a fantasy set in a desert type world, and the magic system is shadow magic, where the characters who have it, their shadows are alive and can do things for them. It's almost like, not possessed, but they're think of Venom and Eddie Brock, but the shadow is like Venom. But it's pretty cool. My favorite character in here is Rai. The two main characters are Rai and Naya. Rai is awesome. Naya is cool too, but Rai is my favorite. He's got a troubled past. You see it unfold through flashbacks, and then it catches you up to nowadays and what he's doing. And he meets up with Naya eventually, who's this young girl who's a street urchin, just trying to make ends meet to take care of her sick mom and get food and medicine for her. But yeah, it's really awesome. But examples like Rai, if he jumps off a building, his shadow will become a glider or a bird that can carry him to safety. His shadow can be a weapon and dart out and kill people and fight people. It can go around corners to check on things. That's really cool. Very inventive. Love the world. Love the characters. And it was awesome. Well done, Andrew. can't wait for the next one. He had a novella that just came out that's a prequel to this, so check that out. But yeah, really, really good. Enjoyed it a lot. And finally, to end up the month, I read Boom! Howling Dark by Christopher Rocchio. This is the second full novel in the Sun Eater series, which is amazing. Love it. My favorite series ongoing right now that I'm reading. So good. I will talk about this. Probably do a short review of it because so many people have done reviews on these already. But this book was awesome. It was really good. Can't talk about too much, but these covers are really sweet. I got all the books back there. But I had read Empire Silence earlier this year. Loved it. This one was even better. Just expanded on the world and the characters and everything. And then I read Queen of Ashes last couple weeks ago, and then Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 1. Those are set in between this and the third book, Demon in White, which I'm going to be starting soon. Can't wait. Everyone says that one's the best, so I'm really pumped for that. But again, second book, so can't spoil anything. But Sun Eater, if you haven't read it or haven't heard about it, which is probably not very many of you, but focuses on Hadrian Marlowe. He is the Sun Eater, so we already know how his story ends. He annihilates a race of alien and destroys them and planets and does all this terrible stuff, but for the right reason. I think it was like, I think one time Christopher Rocchio said it's like if Anakin Skywalker did what he did, but for the right reason, and he was the good guy. So backtracks in the first book. You learn all about his life when he was young, and it just kind of kicks off the story. But it's really good, really beautiful writing, but also a lot of cool action and stuff. It's basically got lightsabers in it. I mean, it's really cool. Really recommend it. This was amazing. I enjoyed it. All right, so then Novellas. All right, if you notice a change, I did just turn on some different lights and turned off my ring light. I just wasn't. I want it. I'll get it eventually. The beast cave here is actually literally almost in a cave in my storage room. That's where I set up my books and stuff. And there's no natural light in here, so I want it to be a little darker to make the lights and on the shelf and stuff show up better. But then I get too much shadows or I'm too washed out. So I just turned the lights back on, and I'll keep working on that, and I'll get it just right eventually. But just wanted to change it because I think this is better. So those are the novels. Now let's get on to the novellas. The first one I read came with Lone Wolf, and this is The Recital by Greg Hurwitz. Can't say too much about this, but this was more of a short story, about 40-some pages, but really good. Focuses on some of the side characters, and also Evan is in it too. But it's about a recital and everyone going to it to support someone. So really good, great expansion and fun side story to start off the month. And I read it before I read Lone Wolf. It went great with it. Then I read a very interesting novella that was a lot of fun. It's called Open Throat by Henry Hoke. I love novellas. I love these little ones. I'm going to have a lot coming up in the next few months that I'm really excited about. But they're just a lot of fun to buy. They're just so little. So adorable. A cute little thing. All right, so Open Throat by Henry Hoke is about a mountain lion. It's from their perspective that lives up in like the Hollywood sign in LA and Hollywood. And they kind of can see this like homeless encampment of homeless people in camp, and they watch them and think about them and kind of almost like wish they were human. And it's just about this mountain lion dealing with their past and who they are and their place in the world. And it's really cool. It's really good. It's first person from the mountain lion's point of view, and eventually some stuff happens and they end up having to leave their home. And it's so short, I can't really get into it too much, but I will do a review for this one because it was really cool. I really liked it a lot. Look forward to reading some more stuff from this author. Next up, told you Daniel Plansky would be on here again. I read his novella The Builders, which has a really cool cover. These animals, very Redwall-ish, but more mature, more gory, a little more grown up. Even though, like I said, Redwall is pretty dark, but this was darker. Focuses on the captain, which is this cool looking mouse right here, and in a war that his side lost. Um, he was betrayed, and him and the members of his crew, and have been kind of hiding out, living simple life, starting over. But he wants to get revenge, and he gathers the crew up one by one, and they're just some really bright, colorful, fun characters. Um, and they go make a plan to storm this place, this castle, and get their revenge. And the mystery unfolds, and you kind of find it out eventually what happened and what they're doing. And there's twists and just awesome characters, really fun, gory action. It's really good. I highly recommend this one. I'll be doing a review on this one too soon. And finally, the last novella I read of the month was Last Stand of the Stone Fist by Markle Marker Michael R. Miller. Um, he writes the Song of Chaos books. Those look really sweet. I really want to get my hands on those. They're gorgeous, and I want to read them. But this is a prequel novella. A lot of people said you should read it after you read the first book, and that may be true because I love the world building, the characters, loved Brode and his connection with his dragon, and loved that world. But I didn't know. I felt like I needed to simmer more in that world to understand it. I probably would have if I read the first book. But this was really good. This is a gorgeous addition to hardcover, naked hardcover. But the bonus was this has a prequel novella for Songs of Chaos, this one right here. But in the back, it has one for his Dragon Blade trilogy, which is another cool trilogy, and I like that one a lot too. It's called The Huntress. Um, and that one is about like these dragons that have kind of become humanistic. They look like humans, but they're bigger, stronger, faster. Have some magicalness to them, and they're kind of going up against humans. And Huntress is a human woman who's leading the charge to try to go against this group of dragon people. Pretty sweet. That I love that novella, and there's an omnibus edition of all three books in that trilogy that I want to get because that looks sharp too. Um, but yeah, I am excited to get into this series, hopefully this year, because it was really good. So yeah, highly recommend that one. Next, for graphic novels, I started off the month. I talked about this in my TBR, but I read the first third of this giant six gun omnibus, and it is awesome. Western, supernatural, um, there's six guns. Each one has magical powers. This is set, obviously Western times, so it's like after the Civil War, and there's this evil Civil War general who's got some new supernatural stuff to him. He was killed, but he's been kept alive by his wife and his cronies, his group of soldiers, and some of them have five of the guns. Well, four of them have guns. Well, I don't know, but some of them have the guns, and really these guns they each one has its own ability, and the only way to take it from someone once they've bonded to it is to kill them to take it. um, so we have that group that's trying to bring him back to life and do all this terrible stuff to overtake the world. And then our other two characters, there's a woman named Becky Moncrief, who her dad had a hand in putting that Civil War general, um, killing him or locking up his spirit or whatever. And he has one of the guns. They come looking for him. She ends up getting the gun and running away after something terrible happens. And then she's on the run, and Drake Sinclair, kind of a stoic gunslinger, cool guy with a mysterious past, he's helping her, and trying to get away from them. He seems to know them, so he's got a sidekick who's pretty cool, and yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. I'll hopefully finish up the rest of this month. Then I took a break from that and wanted to read some other things. So I read the first issue of the new Darkwing Duck by Amanda Dibert, Foul Play. And this was really good. It's got awesome artwork. Looks just like the cartoon. I loved the cartoon back in the day. And she really captured the voices of all the characters. It really just felt like I was watching or reading an episode of Darkwing Duck. So I'm really looking forward to reading more of this. Highly recommend it if you love that show. Um, I also downloaded for my library. They made one of Gargoyles, which I love that one too. So I'm excited to read that um, as well. And then the other two things that are this month I don't have with me because I got them from the library, but I read the first volume of Descender by Jeff Lemire. He's the one that wrote Sweet Tooth, which I love that graphic novel series. Also like the show. It's pretty good. The new season just came out. Got to watch that. Um, and that was Descender is set into the future and kind of starts off where this giant alien robot machine thing shows up in space, and all these scientists and army people go up to check it out and be like, what is it doing? It's just sitting here. And then all of a sudden it goes crazy and like shoots out this beam and like kills all these people and destroys all this stuff, and then it disappears and nobody knows what it wanted, where it went, how it got there. Then we flash forward like 10 years, and that the scientist that it focused on in that first part is kind of become a drunk and depressed, and because he felt like he couldn't, that all that happened and he couldn't figure it out in time, and just dealing with some of that trauma that he dealt with. And we kind of rotate between him getting taken by this secret agency to go help them find this robot, which that's our other focus, is this little boy who at first you think it's just a kid, but then you find out more that the scientists made these companion bots, androids, that are like little kids, and they join a family, and they become siblings with like an only child, or and help the family as kind of like a servant or whatever. And they want to take him to find this robot android because there's some kind of connection, they think, between that and that alien that came. And it's really good. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. It's got some cool characters, awesome artwork. And yeah, I'm going to be reading volume 2 as soon as that comes in from my library. So looking forward to that. And the last one I read for graphic novels was called Geiger. It's through Image. It's part of their new, what's it called? Something Ghost. I can't remember. I'll figure it out though. Anyway, it's a really cool comic. Check it out. It's called Geiger, and it's set after post-apocalyptic, after a bomb went off, nuclear bomb. The world's ravaged. People have to be, if they're outside, they have to have suits on, but there's a man called the Glowing Man who does not, and he glows and goes after evildoers. And you really, like, early on, this isn't a spoiler, but the Glowing Man is actually a guy named Tariq Geiger, and he had built a fallout shelter because he knew the bomb was coming. He's on his way to it with his family, and these neighbors come along and like shoot at him, and they want the shelter for them, but he gets his wife and kids inside. He gets shot and can't go with them, so he says, shut the door. And then the bomb drops. His family's in the shelter. Everyone's killed, but somehow he survives, and now he's the Glowing Man. So he just protects this shelter where his family is, hoping that someday he can see them again and keep them safe. But it's really good. It's an amazing story, awesome artwork, and I look forward to reading more of that for sure. So those were my graphic novels. For my manga for this month, for last month, not this month, for May. The first one I read was Death Note, Volume 1, which focuses on light, and the, what is he called? A death god that comes up from hell and is bored, and his name's Rauk, and he drops this Death Note notebook. Light finds it, and Rauk just likes to, he's a little mischievous, likes to have fun and see what humans will do. So Light finds out if he writes a name in it, someone will die, that person will die, and then it goes from there, and he kind of becomes a vigilante trying to take out all these bad people and thinks that he can make the world a better place, but then he does it so much, the police and governments get onto it, and they're trying to find him, and he's trying to lay low, but also keep doing what he's doing. And then he's got creepy Ryu just staring at him all the time. Let me see if I can find a picture. Most of you have probably read this already, but like, yeah, he's a pretty creepy dude. So yeah, that was really good. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna read volume 2 soon. Then I read Attack on Titan. This was awesome. If you haven't heard of this, obviously there's these Titans that people don't know where they came from, how they came about, but they killed all these people. They eat people, destroyed, most of the world. So then humanity um, built these cities that are in. My son just tried to come in. Need to put a sign on the door. Built these cities that had these rings of walls that were really high and really strong to keep the Titans out. And 100 years has gone by, nothing bad's happened, and of course, along comes the Titan that is much bigger and gets into the city, and all sorts of craziness happens, and just about humanity fighting back, learning how to fight them, and it's really good. I've got like the first 7 volumes, so I'm excited to keep going with this too. And then the other two, I don't, or two or three, that I don't have, but I will put a picture up. I read volume 1 of Mob Psycho 100, which is about Mob, who's a middle schooler, junior high kid, maybe high school, I think junior high. He's very flat effect, not a lot of emotion, very chill, but there's a percentage that shows throughout the volume, and when he gets to 100%, his powers go crazy. But he's being uh, mentored by this fake psychic slimy guy that kind of uses him to come off as being a real psychic and ghost. Oh, what's it called? Like a medium. And yeah, it's really good. Really enjoyed it. I'm going to keep reading that one. And then I read volume 3 and 4 of Berserk. I love Berserk. Going to be reading 5 and 6 here soon, and I want to get those really cool deluxe omnibus editions. I'm going to get those eventually, but that is probably my favorite manga going on right now. That was really good. And I read volume 1 of Chainsaw Man. That's really good. Um, that one is, I guess, Berserk is about Guts, the main character. He's just a warrior and can kind of be a jerk sometimes, but he's fighting against these demons and stuff that are coming out in the world. He's got a huge Buster sword, and just very gory and awesome, dark. I love that one. Chainsaw Man is about a young guy that is a monster or a demon hunter himself, um, and yeah, he. I don't want to spoil anything of how he becomes the Chainsaw Man, but yeah, that one is pretty cool. Awesome artwork. And then I also read Volume 1 of Spy Family, which is really good. That's about a spy who, for a case he has to take, he needs to have a family, so he adopts a girl, and then eventually he gets like a fake wife, and it's just about found family and them kind of coming together and him trying to complete his mission, and um, used to being on his own, and now he's got this found family, and it's really good stuff. So looking forward to continuing all of those. Um, and then, yeah, that was my manga. And then, let's see, my tome that I read for the month was the final book of Mistborn, Hero of Ages. Really good. When I first read it, the ending floored me. Just was kind of sad. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I had time to sit on it and think about it, and I think it was just really well done. The whole trilogy was awesome. If you don't know about Mistborn, which you probably do, but simple of it is it's set in this world where there's an evil empire. The Lord Ruler is ruling over people. Vim is the main character, and she is, you know, um, part of the poor community, and she's with these groups of thieves that don't treat her well, and she's scraping by, doing whatever she has to do. Then she gets taken in by this ragtag group of people who are gonna try to overthrow and do a heist kind of type thing and overthrow the Lord Ruler and take it back to make it fair for everyone. And the magic system is metals. They melt down metals and consume them, and that gives them different powers. And Yeah, it's just really awesome, an amazing series. If you haven't read Mistborn Air 1, you should. It was really good. I am going to be continuing on. I'm listening on audio whenever I get the chance right now to Warbreaker. And then I'm going to start the Stormlight Archive and try to get through all those books so that I can read the new one when it comes out in December. So, yeah, that'll be a fun journey the rest of this year. And for my Dabbler, I read Traitor's Blade by Sebastian D. Castel. Three Musketeer focuses on Falcio and his two friends, Kest and Rasty. And they were greatcoats, but right away you find out the king's dead. Greatcoats are like barely any of them left. They're looked down upon, laughed at, thought poorly of, and they get framed for something they didn't do, and they're on the run, and everyone's trying to kill them. And it's just they have great camaraderie, a lot of humor, a lot of action, swashbuckling. Like it's just really good. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna try to get through all of these because I have the new two that he wrote further on in the future after this series. Uh, what do they call it? It's over there. Crucible of Chaos and Play of Shadows. I'm excited to get into this world. I loved it. Um, and hopefully it just gets better from here. All right. So I think that's everything I read this month. So my favorite manga that I read, I really liked all of them a lot. But I would have to say Berserk. It's my favorite. So anytime I can read some Berserk, it's a good time. And then my favorite graphic novel, I would have to say was Geiger. I really liked all of them, but Geiger was really good. Really enjoyed that one. Looking forward to reading more of that. And my favorite novella was The Builders by Daniel Polanski. Really loved it. And finally, my favorite novel. I could have picked any of them because I loved them all, but I'll have to go with Howling Dark. Really good. That was my book of the month. I really loved it. Can't wait to read Demon in White. All right. Well, if you have not, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Say hello so I can meet you there. Tell me what you read in May. Tell me if you've read any of these books, what you think about them. And yeah, please do that because I'm looking forward to talking to you about any of this. So, as always, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. And as always, until I see you in the next one, be brave, be beautiful to each other, be beastly. See you.